I found out that my 27mgf 23 of 9 months is part of a mean girls type clique and am reconsidering the relationship. I met this girl I'll call Katie at a school event about a year ago and we really clicked and soon made things official. I understand that I saw things partly through rose-colored glasses, but I really liked this girl to the point that I started thinking she might be the one. We just matched well on every level, have similar hobbies, but importantly I thought she was a really good and kind person. Now something happened that really made me reevaluate things. We were sitting in bed and she was texting and laughing about something. I glanced at the phone and saw the Tinder profile of a guy, which made me think WTF. When she went to take a shower, I am not super proud of this, I admit I snooped given what I thought I saw and checked her phone. When her phone opened up it turns out that she wasn't on Tinder, but rather on a group chat with some friends and the Tinder pic was a screenshot. Of course that was a relief, but the rest of the context was just as bad in some ways. The group chat was basically a one-topic channel, where the theme was roasting the guys they hooked up with or were dating. And it was very explicit, talking about specific guys, together with their pics and joking about their inadequacy in bed or even how ill-endowed they were. As far as I scrolled I wasn't featured on there, but I saw Katie herself write really mean comments, e.g. about a guy her friend was with who got emotional during sex. Basically calling him a pathetic loser. I was just shocked to read those comments, because it seemed so out of character for her. When she got back in the room I fessed up to the snooping and confronted her. Surprisingly she wasn't really mad, but she also wasn't remorseful in the least. She said the chat was with her closest friends and they always talked about everything. I told her I thought it was really f up to talk this way about other people, especially since it wasn't just randos. I recognized a few mutual friends discussed on there in an explicit way and I am sure they didn't consent to that information being discussed. But again she got really defensive, said those were her closest friends and what they talk about is their business. I asked her if she talked about us as well, and she refused to answer. The conversation kind of tapered off at that point since we both realized we were too emotional and not getting anywhere. But I still feel very uncomfortable with the situation. I am afraid to be overreacting, but I am very seriously thinking about ending the relationship. I can't believe I am dating someone who thinks it's okay to treat other people this way and join in the public humiliation of people who did nothing wrong. But I would like some outside perspective from others if they've been in any kind of similar situation and or if they think I am blowing this out of proportion. Some comments. I asked her if she talked about us as well. And she refused to answer. That means yes, I would press her on that. But that's me. I'm gonna throw you another perspective in here. Most men I know have group chats with each other that are literally so hellish that I wouldn't be able to scroll through it for a minute. Also, men never show these group chats. The objectification of women, the vulgar jokes and mean comments, it's literally just banter for them. Sometimes the sweetest or nicest guys I've met surprisingly say the worst things in those chats. But I realized it might be part of group pressure to say these things. I honestly have only met one guy that wasn't part of this kind of group chat that was in his 20s. I'm not sure what kind of guy you are, but if you have been part of these kind of group chats yourself you are in no position to judge. If you are not this kind of person at all, then yes, maybe someone else with similar views would suit you better. But I think the rest of the comments fail to bring in this perspective. You should reevaluate yourself honestly before you judge your partner. Edit. Yes, of course not all men are the same. I am just saying from what I've seen, this is really common among men too. To an extent that can become very sexist. Now, there are 7 billion people in the world. You may have different experiences. However, I live in the Netherlands, Europe. One of the most emancipated countries in the world, and it is still extremely common for men to behave this way. And from what I know about the US, I find that there's even more casual sexist jokes, based on your TV shows I've seen like, How I Met Your Mother, or that 70s show, so before you bash me about my environment, I would seriously reevaluate your own. Someone counters this, quite frankly, awful take on the situation. LMAO, the double standards continue to grow more egregious on this site. I am fairly certain that if there was a woman on here commenting I found out my BF calls women pigs and makes fun of their bodies with his friends you, along with everyone else, would be saying red flag. Or don't walk, run because he was showing his true self. But a woman does it and your response is to say it's okay, most men do it too. It's not her fault because her friends are pressuring her. How asinine is that? Two wrongs don't make a right. Hang out with nice people. Society has been shaming men for this behavior for quite some time now. We call them chauvinists. When Trump made the grab em by the P comment and some said it was just locker room talk, did women everywhere say, oh that's fine then? Completely absurd that you tried to justify her actions, and to redirect the conversation towards OP's behavior. You should be ashamed. Start acting like women have the agency to be bad people, show them some respect. Also, I don't know what you are basing this statistic that most men have a group chat where they sit around and dog on their hookups off of, but you fabricated that simply to support your pandering. Most guys don't talk shit about their hookups because in a way that negatively reflects on them. I would posit that more men make stuff up in the bragging sense. OP replies to now deleted comment where he confirms that what he found out made him lose his attraction towards his GF. Honestly, if this is something that ruins the attraction to her, leave her. Yeah, it really does, it really changed how I see her. TBH, it's just kind of a mindfuck, because I can't really reconcile what I thought I knew about her and this behavior. It's not just her either, I also know some of her friends on that group chat, and I also thought before that they seemed like nice normal girls. The weird part is that she made it look like this kind of talk was so normal, like she was surprised that I was so put off by it. Now I wonder if it may be more common to people to vent like this private with friends. But I still find it hard to accept. Like if a guy friend told our friend group about a girl he hooked up with and started making fun of her private parts, I would be super creeped out and think the guy is an asshole for violating the girl's privacy like that. Someone replies, this is normal behavior for mean girls. That's what they do. They have to tear people down to feel good about themselves. The fact that she was not remorseful doesn't bode well for her changing anytime soon. Good luck. Update. This all actually happened a few days after my original post, but things have been pretty hectic since then, but I wanted to write a quick update since I got some useful advice in the first thread. The best advice was to insist on seeing the chat one last time to see if she had written anything about me. She initially said no, because it also has private information about her friends etc. But I basically said if she doesn't let me see the texts it's over, and she reluctantly agreed, but told me to keep in mind that this was a year ago and how much we grew as a couple since then blah blah blah. I scrolled to the period when we started dating and yeah, sure enough there I was in the texts. It actually made me feel really weird reading other people talking about me. Right around the time we first slept together someone asked her if I was better than some guy, apparently a former FWB of hers. Without missing a beat she fires back no, that it was kinda disappointing because I was nervous and had some performance anxiety, and then actually went into detail about what we did. She knew I was feeling anxious since I hadn't been with anyone in a while after a bad breakup and she was supporting in person, so it felt extra shitty that behind my back she was complaining about me. A friend of hers even mocked me and she said nothing. Katie saw the look on my face and tried to tell me again that we grew so much. And things became really good when we got comfortable with each other and connected. She even showed me a text where she said that to her friends. But honestly at that point I was already done. I asked her to move out and after a bit of drama and nasty words, she moved her stuff to her mother's place. As others said, I have no doubt they are not talking shit about me together, but honestly I could not care less what those pieces of shit are chattering about, I just never want to see any of them ever again. Some comments, someone thinks OP made a mistake. I'm going to suggest that you made a mistake. Remember our relationships is notorious for breaking people up over literally everything. What was the rest of your relationship like? I'm not sure what the resolution is at this point, but people do grow. At what point is she supposed to ditch her friends? They would notice if she suddenly dipped, hopefully they'd settle down at some point. I feel like a black book messenger chat is a very minor way of expressing the darkest part of her heart. Those places exist in everyone, denying the outlet is just going to create unexpected consequences. I realize that not everyone has these dark spaces, and it's hard to understand, but when you have them, finding a harmless outlet is a blessing. I see this as very similar to listening to guys on online gaming, except we're conditioned to expect and accept it and you are blown away by the reality of it. You seem so sweet, kind, loving and gentle, and you found out your lady has a dark side. This is something that most women see in their partners and have to settle with every day. I'm not saying you should settle for it, I'm just asking you to take a walk down the mountain of Reddit's moral high ground and evaluate the alternatives. What attracts you to her? Will you find this anywhere else? Do you feel like she gives you special treatment or is hiding something? Is she just connecting with her friends in a fucked up way that you really can't deal with? I can tell you're not the type of guy who deserved this, but I really don't think you should throw away your relationship over this. Really think about it, are your feelings really hurt that bad? Did she exaggerate for the sake of storytelling? I mean, I feel like men are so fragile compared to women, so fragile their pride gets in the way of their own satisfaction. I really hope you are happy either way, but in my heart I hope it works out for you both if the rest of the relationship is fine. Also, don't go through her messages anymore unless you think she's cheating or taking advantage of you. Everyone deserves an outlet, no matter how dark. She wasn't even mad at you for snooping, that's a dead ringer for she's got nothing else to hide, someone else fires back. I feel like men are so fragile compared to women, so fragile their pride gets in the way of their own satisfaction. Really. Men are allowed to feel hurt and upset that their partners, male or female, betrayed their trust. This includes talking shit about them behind their backs. As a woman, I'd be furious if I found out my partner was discussing any dissatisfaction with my body to his best mates, and if he was poking fun at something he already knows I'm sensitive about. In OP's case, having not had sex in ages, in my case my itty-bitty titties, there will be hell to pay. What an absolute betrayal of trust. And you're very wrong about OP's pride getting in the way of his satisfaction. It takes a confident person to know what they want from a partner and a relationship and to walk away from it when they realize the other party has fallen short and doesn't intend on changing or improving. And I can tell you, being in a relationship where your partner belittles you behind your back is not the least bit satisfying. And to everyone saying, all women do this, no, we do not. I have never heard a girlfriend talk about her partner's body. Have never discussed my partner's body and I never want to either. Just because you have a toxic group chat does not make it normal, and this behavior should never be normalized. Number one rule in life: if someone gossips or talks shit about others, it is a fact they are doing the same behind your back. I'm glad you followed your gut and did what was right. Hopefully she learned something from her actions and words. Words are like knives, they can cut deep, and this says a lot about who you are. It says you're a kind and loyal person with a good heart. Good karma will come your way.